on feelings. I hope that you are ready to learn a little bit more about expressing your feelings in English. This will be more than a beginner lesson. This will be a bit more of an intermediate lesson. I'm going to talk about some of the simpler feelings, like anger and sadness, but mostly I'm going to talk about more advanced expressions for talking about your feelings. Let me just check to make sure you are ready to learn a little bit. Sounds like everything is working. Awesome. Oh, let me turn myself off now. So again, welcome to this English lesson on feelings. I'm Bob the Canadian, and you are learning a little bit of English today, and hopefully this is good listening practice for you, as well as a little bit of extra vocabulary for you to use. So again, this lesson on feelings, I'll start with 3 of the simple ones, but then after that I'm going to go into some more complex or more detailed feelings. So I just want to say hello to everyone who is here. Welcome to this lesson. I hope the room isn't too echoey. I feel like I can hear my voice echoing, so hopefully you guys don't hear that too much. Let me check my audio again for you to use. So again, this lesson, it's a little bit echoey, but not too bad. Anyways, we're going to talk about our feelings today. That makes me laugh. I'm not sure why, but we're going to talk about expressing your feelings. You all know the simplest feeling, which is happy. So these people are obviously happy. You can see that they are happy because they are smiling, and they're even maybe laughing a little bit. So when people are happy, they usually smile, and they usually you can just tell from their face that they are happy. They are experiencing happiness, by the way. So they are happy, but you could also say that they are experiencing happiness. So here we have a couple of happy people. That's the first simple one of 3. The next one I have is sad. So you can see that this person is sad by the look on her face. She might even be crying a little bit here. So when you are sad, you are the opposite of happy. You're not feeling super excited about your day. You maybe even have had something happen in your life that made you sad, that caused you to experience sadness. People are sad when they don't get what they want. They are sad when life doesn't go the way they think it should. And they are sad sometimes when they lose someone in life. Maybe a family member has passed away or died. That can make you sad as well. So when things in life don't go well, that can make you sad. The third one, easy one, before we get to the more intricate ones, is angry. So you can see this guy is yelling on the phone. He is obviously very, very angry at someone, and so he is raising his voice. We say he is yelling, but you could also say that he is raising his voice. When someone is angry, they raise their voice at someone. So sometimes when my children don't behave, I raise my voice. It's kind of like yelling. Actually, it is yelling when you raise your voice to someone. So, happy, sad, angry, and now we're going to look at a few more detailed ones. I just want to stop and say hi to everyone who is watching. If you're new here, I'm Bob the Canadian. We're doing a little lesson this morning on feelings. My paper is not standing up. And if you are new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button. I love it when people subscribe to my channel. And if you guys could give me a thumbs up at some point, that would be awesome as well. I'm gonna check my connection again. Stop and say hi. It looks like it's working. I'm getting some errors on my camera screen, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going. So I promised you some more advanced vocabulary to talk about feelings. So let's start with this one. You can feel left out. When you feel left out, it means that other people, maybe your friends, are all doing something fun, and maybe they didn't invite you, and so you feel left out. You're the person who is not part of the group. So a great example would be maybe your friends decided they would go see a movie, and all of a sudden you notice on Instagram that they're at the movie theater, but no one invited you. You didn't get a message inviting you to go to the movie. You would feel left out, okay? Because your friends have excluded you from their plans. This is not a nice feeling when you feel left out. It's definitely a situation where these people all seem very happy, but this person here who was left out, who was excluded, obviously does not feel very happy. So left out is our first one. The next one, oh, hello everyone. It's like 270 people. That goes up quickly, doesn't it? The next feeling you can have is you can feel down. So this person has his head on his knees and he's kind of in a position where he looks sad. When you feel down, it's similar to feeling sad. You can feel down about your day. You can feel down because you lost your job. I think it's the short form of the phrase down in the dumps. In English, you can say, I feel down in the dumps. But we regularly just say down, okay? So the other day I was feeling down. My YouTube video didn't do as well as the one before, so I was sad, so I felt down. Let me jump and see if there are questions. I'm only going to answer questions about feelings and emotions, so hopefully you don't mind. First one is from Henry. Henry says, I have a gut feeling or have a hunch. So it's not haunch. Haunch is actually your hip. So it's hunch, H-U-N-C-H. What's the difference? They are the same. When you have a gut feeling about something or a hunch, it means you think you know it's right, or you think you know the answer, not because of anything you've thought of, but because you just have a hunch. You just have a feeling that you're right. Let me see here. Next question. Gonna jump down. Oh yes, this one I will talk about later. But Chen says, "Does no hard feelings mean it's okay either way you choose?" So, no hard feelings is something you say after you have a fight with someone, or after you do something that someone didn't like, okay? Maybe you got in a fight with your sister and you talk it through and you come to an agreement again and you are happy and you like each other again. You would say, hey, no hard feelings, which means let's not remember that we had a fight. Let's just move forward without reminding each other that we said mean things to each other. That's how no hard feelings works. Let's see. Alvina says, oh, this is interesting. Yes. Hi, Bob. Hi, Alvina. How do you express your feelings at work? For example, if you're dissatisfied at work with the conditions or something like that. So that's a tricky one because it depends on where you work and it depends on your boss. So I have a boss who says, my door to my office is always open. What that means is that if you feel like something at work isn't going well, you can always go and talk to him. Some people have workplaces where the boss doesn't like that. So it's tricky. If you're in a big enough company and you aren't enjoying your workplace, you can maybe talk to human resources. They might have a whole department for that. But anyways, that's a tricky one, Alvina. Let's see here. Let's keep going, actually. I'll do a few more of these. So we had down. Remember, we finished with down, which means, you know, to feel a bit sad if you're feeling down. But we also have the phrase let down. Now, whenever I use this picture, people usually tell me that this is a famous picture from a park, and I can't remember where. Maybe you guys can tell me in the chat. But when you feel let down, it means someone, I always think this girl looks let down, that her boyfriend or husband disappointed her. So when you feel let down, it means someone else did something and that made you feel disappointed in them. So maybe her husband spent all their money on gambling. Maybe he spent their life savings gambling. She would feel let down because of that, because he kind of betrayed her a little bit or did something that affected their relationship. So when you feel let down, it usually means because someone disappointed you, okay? Let me know in the chat if you recognize this photo. I've used it a few times for different lessons. Oh, and here we have, I do have this one, down in the dumps. So this means the same as down. When you feel down in the dumps, you're not excited about your day. Your day isn't going well. Maybe there's been a few things that have happened in your day that have made you feel sad or a little bit depressed. So you feel down in the dumps. I usually don't feel down in the dumps. I'm usually in a good mood. Although if you talk to my kids, they might disagree. They might say that I'm usually in a bad mood, but I'll talk about that a little later. Here's a phrase that we use, at the end of your rope. So when you're at the end of your rope, it means a series of things have happened that made you have a bad day, and you're just done with it. I was going to say you're fed up. That's another phrase that works with this one. When you're fed up, when you're at the end of your rope, it means that one too many times in that day something has gone wrong, and you're just tired of it. You're just ready to maybe go home, have supper, and go to bed early. So Lin Fan says it's Hon Clem Lake in Vietnam. Yes, thank you very much for identifying that for me. That's very cool. No, I don't think this is George Clooney. I think it's just a picture of a guy who he's not having a good day and he's at the end of his rope. The next one is, again, I have a couple here who are fighting to bite someone's head off. Sometimes people are feeling really grouchy. They're in a really bad mood. And so this isn't specifically a feeling, but sometimes you go through your day and you just feel like biting people's heads off. What that means is, even if someone says something nice to you, you want to respond in not a nice way. So you go through your day saying things like, I disagree with you, or no, or stop being so nice today. I don't know, I'm giving bad examples, but when you bite someone's head off, you give a very short, unpolite answer to their question. You are just not kind during the conversation. So when you bite someone's head off, it usually means you're in a pretty bad mood. Let me check the questions again, folks. Let's see what we got here. From Miguel, we have, what's the difference between sentimental and feeling? So when you're feeling sentimental, it means that you're thinking about the past or you're remembering something nice from your childhood. You just have good memories. That's what sentimental is. Whereas feelings are everything that we experience as human beings. You know, anger, sadness, happiness, feeling down in the dumps, those kinds of things. So that's the difference between there. Let's see here. This is from Anis from Algeria. It says, hi Bob, I want to ask you about anxiety. Can you give us some tips to overcome anxiety? Thanks for all you have. Have a nice week. Yes, thank you, Anis. So first of all, I'm not an expert on anxiety. So any advice I give is just me as a person. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but here's what I know helps me not be anxious. So this is what helps me to not have anxiety. If I go for a walk 5 times a week, a long walk, usually an hour, if I eat healthy, and if I get lots of sleep, okay? Now, it's not a perfect solution, and it doesn't work for everybody, but for me personally, I am less anxious, I have less anxiety if I go for a walk 5 times a week, sometimes 6 or 7, eat healthy food, and don't overeat and if I have a good night's sleep. That's what helps me. So thanks for the question. Let's see here. I'm going to tidy up my questions and I'll answer a few more and then we'll move on. Let's see here. Shaul asks about which one is correct? Raise your voice at someone or raise your voice to someone? You usually raise your voice at someone. So the other day I don't raise my voice a lot, but I raised my voice at someone. Yes. So you would use at, definitely. Great question. Let's see. This is a good one as well. Says from Saeed, would you explain about how to use the phrase feel like? So when you feel like doing something, it means you want to do it. They are exactly the same thing. So today I feel like doing a lesson. It means that I want to do a lesson. Today I feel like having a really yummy lunch. So I want to have a really yummy lunch. So that's how that one works. Let's get back though to the lesson. I just want to shout out one person who's been a regular here. So I like to shout out Sean from Free 99 English. Hi Sean, I just saw you in the chat. Glad you're here. So we're talking about feelings. The next one is petrified. So again, I don't want to talk about the 10 simple English words for feelings. When you're petrified, you're scared, okay? You're afraid. So this guy, he's out on a branch above a river, and I thought he looked a little bit scared. So when you're petrified, you're really scared. So I don't like snakes. If I saw a snake, I might be petrified. The reason we use the word petrified is it means like you became like a stone. So when someone's petrified, they're so afraid that they don't even run away. They just, I'm petrified. Now we use this to exaggerate when we're afraid. So you might say that, oh, I was petrified, and it doesn't mean that you turned into a stone. But definitely if you're petrified, you're very, very scared. Hey, I want to just pause and say hi to everyone who's here. We're doing a lesson on feelings this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and the thumbs up. And if you watch this again tomorrow with subtitles on, it would be a really good listening practice for you. But let's continue. Sometimes you feel out of it. So this is a bit of you see this guy, he's scratching his head and his hair's kind of messed up. When you feel out of it, you're like, you don't know quite what time it is, and your day's going badly, and you can't think straight, and maybe you're late for a meeting because you can't find your shoes, and you lost your keys, and the day is just full of little troubles and you can't solve them very well. You would say that you're feeling out of it. So sometimes early in the morning, I feel out of it before I have a cup of coffee. So I get up and everything's just foggy in my brain and I can't think straight. And I'm just trying to get myself ready to get out the door and I can't find things. You would say that you are feeling out of it. I feel out of it every morning, usually. So let's see here. I'm going to go over the two phrases, in a good mood. In a good mood. I think I said moon there. It's not moon, it's mood. If you're in a good mood, it means that you are happy. So you can see this girl is super happy. When you're in a good mood, you joke around with people. You kind of make other people happy because you're happy. So generally, I'm in a good mood. I like to be in a good mood. It's just better. Your day is better if you're in a good mood. The opposite, though, is to be in a bad mood. So when you're in a bad mood, you tend to bite people's heads off. You don't actually bite their head off, by the way. That would be weird. But if you are in a bad mood, it means that you're just grumpy and grouchy and you're mean to people and you go through your day unhappy when you're in a bad mood. it's better to be in a good mood for sure. Let me take a few more questions here as we move along. Moj Taba has a question. What does it mean to feel something out? Like, I just want to feel it out. So maybe maybe you've bought a new car and you just want to feel it out. That means you want to try it for a few days. Maybe you've started a new job, but you're not sure you're going to stay there because you just want to feel it out for a few days. What that means is that you are going to do something to experience it for a bit in order to see what it is like. Let's see here. Oh, yes, this is a good one. Dimitri says, hi, Bob. Can you say a word that you would use when you have a changeable mood? So we say that you are moody. Moody or have mood swings. Okay, so when you're moody, it means like you're happy one minute and then you're mad the next minute and then you're sad. When you have mood swings, you're happy and then you're sad and then you're excited and then you feel down. So those are two ways to describe changes in mood that happen really quickly. Let's see here. Silvana says, down or depression, are they the same or not? So we need to be careful here. Down means that you're feeling sad, but depression more and more is a diagnosis. When a doctor diagnoses you as having depression. So we do use the word depressed in English, but sometimes we use it lightly. More and more when you are saying that someone's depressed, it's a clinical term. So we usually say people are down or they're not feeling great that day. But when you say that a person has depression, usually they've seen a medical professional. So we need to be careful with how we use those two now. Gaga says, are you sad? I felt that way. Have you eaten breakfast? So I'm sorry that you've felt sad. I hope that you are not sad now, Gaga. And I'm not sad, and I did have breakfast. It wasn't a very good breakfast though. It was a fast breakfast. Usually one of my viewers, Judith, if I tell you guys what I ate, I'm embarrassed because this morning I had a piece of cake for breakfast. And Judith tries to make sure that I eat healthy. So I'm sure that that's not a good breakfast for me. Let me clear up some of the questions here. And then let's see here. One last question and then we'll move back to the lesson. Kasim Najm says, how can I express myself when I miss someone as in didn't see him for a long time? You would say you miss them. You would just say, I'm really sad because I haven't seen my boyfriend for a long time. I'm really sad because I haven't seen my girlfriend for a long time. I miss him or I miss her. Okay, that would be exactly how you would say it. Here's another feeling. You can feel jealous. You can experience jealousy. So when you are jealous, it usually means you can see this couple, this man and woman are fighting, and I feel like she's saying, I think you were with another girl, okay? I think that's what she's saying. So I think they're a couple and maybe he has cheated on her or maybe he's been spending time with another girl. So she is jealous. She's probably also angry. Probably really angry, but jealousy is when you are upset because someone is spending time with someone else, or someone has something that you can't afford to buy. So sometimes people have nice cars, and then you might be jealous because they have a nicer car than you. So jealousy is about sometimes comparing yourself to others and looking at things they have that you want that you can't afford. I feel like a lot of the feelings I'm talking about aren't great feelings, but we have the feeling of miserable. So sometimes when you are sick, you feel miserable. Sometimes you have a day that you just feel miserable. You just Maybe it's a cloudy day and there's no sunshine and it's raining a little bit and you don't like rain and you're just having a miserable day and you feel miserable. This is really hard to pronounce, by the way. Miserable. It's almost, I say it a bit with the Z sound, miserable. When you're miserable, you're not nice to be around. Other people don't like being around miserable people. But miserable people just, it's not really just sadness. It's more like you just sigh all the time and you're just feeling miserable. I usually use this word when I have a cold, and if I don't sleep well, I'll say, I feel sick. I'm just miserable today. You don't feel like doing anything. There's the phrase feel like again, when you are miserable. Hello again to everyone who is watching. So fun to see all of you in the chat. Thanks again to Todd for helping out. And I know Sean's in chat. He sometimes helps out a little bit as well. By the way, you should check out Free 99 English's channel. He has an English channel as well on YouTube, and his name is Sean. I call him Sean the Canadian, by the way. Anyways, sometimes you might feel withdrawn, or you might know someone who feels withdrawn. When you are withdrawn, you separate yourself from other people. So sometimes you just don't feel like being around other people. You want to be alone. And so you might say, I'm just feeling a bit withdrawn today. And so you just go somewhere by yourself. Usually when you feel withdrawn, it does come with a little bit of sadness as well. But it means that you are separating yourself from other people. Ahmed, I don't usually take questions from the chat, but Ahmed has a great question there. Which is right? I feel miserable or I am miserable. You can say both. You can say both. Let me get this right. You can say both, Ahmed. You can say, I feel miserable today. Or you can say, I am miserable today. Anyways, let me do a couple questions for a sec. How says, good morning, Bob. If someone says I'm down and out, does it mean, what does the out mean here? It's just an extra word. If I feel down, or I feel down in the dumps, or I feel down and out, they all mean the same thing. So you're feeling just a little bit sad that day if you're feeling down. Let's see. Oh, so this isn't exactly on topic, but Q Mike says, hello here, Michelle. Is it true that English people don't like to talk about money and political subjects, and they are not feeling well about these questions? So it's true that you don't usually talk too much about money in English. You don't usually ask someone how much money they make. And sometimes people don't like to talk about politics, but we do still talk about those two things. Let me do one more question. So Jean from Taiwan says, are there any phrases that include up to describe feelings? Yes, so you could say, I'm feeling up, like opposite of down. You can also say, are you up for going to a movie? It's not really a feeling though. I'm feeling, here's a good one. I'm feeling upbeat today. So if you feel upbeat, it means you're in a good mood. So sometimes you can feel worthless. This is not a nice feeling at all. When you feel worthless, this is hard to say, isn't it? Worthless. When you feel worthless, you feel like you have no value. You feel like people don't think that you are good at anything. You feel like no one likes you. It's not a good feeling to feel worthless. So again, things that have value have worth, and things that don't have value, we say are worthless. So it's not a good thing to say, but sometimes you might feel like garbage. Like you might be treated in a way where you just don't feel good about yourself. You're not happy about yourself, and you might feel worthless. If you feel worthless, if some of you feel this way, it's just a really good idea to talk to someone who you really enjoy talking to, like a family member, a parent, or somebody, if you're feeling worthless. This is not a nice feeling, to feel worthless. There's a related feeling. You can feel useless. So I put this person, they're using a drill to put something into this piece of wood, because not all of us are good at everything. Not all of us are good at construction work or good at using computers. And sometimes you can feel useless. So when you feel useless, you feel like you aren't able to do something that other people are able to do. So some of you have said that you like me as a teacher, but if you were a teacher, you feel like you would be useless if you had to stand in front of a classroom. Let's see here. So when you're useless, it means that you're just not good at something. Maybe you go to help your brother fix his car. If I had to help someone fix their car, I would feel useless. I could hold a light. I'm good at holding lights, but I don't know how to fix a car. So if I needed to help someone fix a car, I would feel useless. So when you're okay, good. I just wanted to check that things were working. So there's two opposites here. We talked about these last week. You can be optimistic, which means you think everything will go well all the time, or pessimistic, where you think things will go badly all the time. So let's say you're planning a vacation and maybe you are optimistic that the whole family will have fun. Maybe your spouse, maybe your husband or wife is pessimistic and they think the vacation is just not going to go good. We also say that optimistic people see the cup as half full, and pessimistic people see the cup as half empty. So again, if you have a cup, and if the cup has this much in it, some people say, optimists say, well, the cup's half full. That's good. And a pessimist might say, well, the cup's half empty. That's no good. So that's the difference between an optimist and a pessimist. I used slightly different words there. Did you notice that? The feeling, you can feel optimistic, and that means you are an optimist. You can, oh, I slurped. Sorry, I didn't mean to make the slurping sound. You can feel pessimistic, and that means you are a pessimist. Hopefully that made some sense. Let me do a couple more questions. Lolly says, I don't know exactly how to use overwhelming or overwhelm. So there's just a slight difference there. You describe things as being overwhelming. So for some people, doing a live stream would be overwhelming, okay? But the overwhelm is a verb. So, you know, the live stream could overwhelm you. So that's the difference there. It's just a small grammatical difference. That was one of Bob the Canadian's bad explanations. The next feeling is you can feel uncomfortable. So there's two ways that you can feel uncomfortable. You can be physically uncomfortable. Like maybe this shirt is too tight on my arms because I've been working out. Sorry. I just made myself laugh. I could say that the shirt makes me feel uncomfortable. Like it's too small and I'm uncomfortable. But you can also, like this guy's tie maybe makes him feel uncomfortable. So you can be physically uncomfortable, but you can also be uncomfortable in a situation. So you might say, you know, I went to the gym the other day and there were some people there outside the gym, and I think they were doing something bad and they made me feel uncomfortable. When someone makes you feel uncomfortable, it means that maybe you're afraid a little bit, maybe you weren't sure what they were doing. It looked like they were up to no good, but you can feel uncomfortable, which means maybe a little bit like you feel threatened or a little bit afraid, okay? So that's uncomfortable. Let me grab the next one here. Again, thank you for everyone who's watching. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, and thumbs up are also appreciated. And it's nice when you feel appreciative, okay? So when you feel appreciative, it means that you want to thank someone. If you feel appreciative, you can click the thumbs up button right now, and then I would know that you appreciate what I'm doing. So when you're appreciative, it means that you are happy with something someone is doing, and you are very likely to say thank you to them, okay? So when you feel appreciative, you want to thank people for what they are doing. So maybe someone took you out for dinner and they paid for it. That would be really cool. You would be appreciative. You would feel appreciative about it. That's hard to say, isn't it? Appreciative. I don't have a sheet for the other one, which is you can feel appreciated. So when you say thank you to me, when you click the thumbs up button, I feel appreciated. So there's two sides to it, right? If you feel appreciative, you say thank you, and the person you say thank you to will feel appreciated. So it's really nice to do that, by the way. Let's go to the next one. I really like this picture. So if you feel head over heels for someone, it means that you're really in love with them. So you can see this couple here on their wedding day. I'm assuming that they are head over heels for each other. I'm assuming that because they're getting married, that they love each other very much. So he is head over heels for her, and I'm assuming she is head over heels for him as well. So head over heels in love is a feeling. The next one is, I don't know why we call them this, but I had goosebumps. So maybe you have gone to a concert where the band played a song and it was so good that you got little bumps on your arms. You got goosebumps, right? So when you have goosebumps, it means that you have been moved emotionally. But it has other meanings too. You can get goosebumps when you're afraid of something. You can get goosebumps when you're excited. So I don't know what you call them in your language, but sometimes you get goosebumps because you're excited or you have an emotional experience that makes you feel really, really good. Let me go to the questions for a sec. Next one is from Chen. Says, does it's kind of a punch in the gut mean to be frustrated or painful? No, when you say it was kind of a punch in the gut, it means that something happened to you that you didn't like, okay? The best example is maybe you lost your job. Maybe you had a great job and all of a sudden one day at work, your boss says you're fired, you've lost your job. That would be like a punch in the gut. It's a situation where your life has changed out of your control. So not a nice feeling at all. Let's see here. Let me clean up for a sec my questions here, and then I will do a couple more questions. Let's see here. Oh, this is from Yasin. This is a great one. Oh, where did it go? Let me just click back here. There we go. Yasin says, hi, I'm from Kurdistan. Hi, Yasin. What does it mean to be sick and tired of something? So if you don't like something, you could just say, I'm sick of it. But if you really don't like something, you could say, I'm just sick and tired of it. So sometimes people use this expression when they talk about someone else's behavior. So maybe you could say, people keep smoking outside my workplace and they put the cigarette butts in the flower bed and I'm sick and tired of it. That means that you wish they would stop. Whenever you see the cigarettes in the flower bed, you get annoyed. You could say, I'm sick and tired of it. So, I was gonna do one more question. Let's get another question here. Let's see here. RJ Farisco says, can blame and guilt be used as for the same purpose? And what is the correct legal word for that? So it's a little tricky. You could say, who is to blame, right? So someone stole something, who is to blame? Who is guilty? In those two sentences, it means the same thing. So who is to blame and who is guilty mean the same. But the word blame itself, if you blame someone, it means that you say they did it, okay? So let me back up. So if you say who is to blame or who is guilty, Those two sentences mean the same, okay? Hopefully that helps a little bit, RJ. Let's see here. Andre says, let's see here. It's common to say, I feel blue, or is there another expression for it? Thanks and hi from Mallorca. I want to go to Mallorca someday, by the way. I think it looks like a nice place to go. When you feel blue, it just means you feel like your day isn't going good. There are a lot of ways to say it, like I'm feeling blue, I'm feeling down, and those. There's another one coming up that I'll show you in a minute. Let me dig it out of my pile. You could say that you're feeling blah. So this is a little bit more of a slang way of describing your feelings, but some days you just feel blah. When you feel blah, you have no energy. You don't feel like doing anything, so you feel blah. I feel blah sometimes. So I have a fly here, but I brought my fly swatter today. When I put this fly swatter here, the flies stay on the other side of the room, I think because they're afraid. Let me just find a couple more here. Sometimes you might have mixed feelings about something. So you can see this guy, I picked this picture because one eyebrow is up, like he's excited, like, this looks fun. But the other eyebrow is down a little bit. So he might be having mixed feelings about the trip he's going to go on. So there are parts of the trip he might be happy about, and there's parts of the trip he's just not sure about, that he doesn't want to do. So he's having mixed feelings. He's kind of happy about some parts and he's kind of sad about some parts. His feelings are mixed. People sometimes have mixed feelings about going on trips, going on vacations. Like, oh, I'm excited to go on a trip because I'm going to see my aunt, but I'm not excited to go on the trip because my uncle is mean sometimes. So I have mixed feelings about going on the trip. That could be, that's a good example of mixed feelings. When you are really, really in a good mood, you could say that you're in high spirits. So this guy is obviously in high spirits. He's so pumped. That's another feeling, by the way. You can feel pumped about something, super excited. So this guy's in high spirits. Got a couple more here. Sometimes you feel like your hopes were dashed. When your hopes are dashed, it means that you thought the future was going to be a certain way, and then things changed to go a direction you didn't want. So I always think, like, I think this guy really liked this girl, and I think they just broke up. I think he thought they were going to be together for their whole life, and she decided, no, I think we need to break off the relationship. So his hopes are dashed now. Maybe he had really, really big hopes for the future with this girl, but I think she was like, no, you're not the guy for me. So now his hopes are dashed. That's probably not a very good feeling. I'm going to do a few more questions here. Let me just dig in. Let's see here. The next one is from Anis from Algeria says, hi teacher, don't you think if we want to have a good life, we have to be optimistic and see the glass half full and not half empty? Thanks a lot, sir. Enjoy your weekend. Yes, I very much think that in order to have a nice day, oh, there's the fly. In order to have a nice day or a nice week or a nice life, it really helps to be optimistic. Some days I am pessimistic, and then I don't have a good day because I'm just annoyed by things. Let's see here. So the next one is from Alvina. What does the phrase come undone mean, as in the famous song of Duran Duran? So when things come undone, they come apart. You can also say, I've come undone, which means that you're coming apart inside. Like your feelings are all, you're very confused and you're not sure about things. And you're just not feeling good about yourself. You would say that you're coming undone. It's not a very common phrase though, Alvina, in English. We don't use that a lot anymore. Let's see here. This one is from Roman from Russia. I got time for a couple more questions here. Roman from Russia says, hello, Robert, in a bad mood and I feel bad. Is this the same thing? No. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm just cranky and grouchy and I'm mean to people. And if I feel bad, it means that, like, let's say that someone says my My cat ran away. I can't find I would feel bad for that person. So it's a whole different feeling. When you feel bad for someone, you are empathizing with them. You are sad for them. You are having feelings on their behalf when you feel bad for them. There's slightly different meanings for I feel bad as well, but generally if I say to someone, oh, I feel bad for you, it means that I am a good friend, or I am a person who is feeling the same thing they are feeling in that moment. You should look it up though, because when you feel bad, it has a couple other little meanings as well. Oh, Mao says, what are good phrases to encourage someone who is in a bad mood? Well, that's a tricky one, because when people are in bad moods, sometimes they don't want anyone to cheer them up. So I would say just be helpful. Like, hey, can I help you with anything? Hey, is there anything I can do to help? That's a good thing to say. And then ask them about their day. Like, hey, how's your day going? Even if their day was going badly. So, hey, I'm going to say a few things here though. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't done that yet. Do watch this video again tomorrow with the subtitles on. You don't need to watch all of it, but I'm sure there were 1 or 2 parts of the lesson that you didn't quite understand. Come back and watch it again tomorrow. Sometimes when you watch something 2 or 3 times in another language, it really helps for listening practice. I highly recommend that you just put this on in the background and listen to some of it again tomorrow. It will really, really help you with your listening practice. I'm Bob the Canadian. I have to go and do my real job in a little bit, so I'm going to wrap up this lesson. I'm going to end it. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down too if you didn't like the lesson. It doesn't really bother me when I get thumbs down. I'm optimistic enough that I know that thumbs up means you liked it, and sometimes people don't like stuff, and that's fine. That's a totally fine feeling to have. Anyways, thanks to Todd for helping out. Let's see here. Oh, I clicked in the wrong spot. Sometimes I do that. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Sean, for being here again. And I hope you all have a great weekend. I know some of you, it's Friday night already. That must be really nice to have Friday night. But I'm going to push the button here, and it is going to end. Thanks.